Welcome to Leigh Purtill Ballet Company's Dancer Tips. I'm Asher Taylor Dawson, a dancer with the company, and today we'll be taking a look at stage makeup basics for guys or anyone who wants a natural look on a budget. So, if you're not someone who wears makeup every day and doesn't have a lot of makeup already in your possession, the idea of buying makeup can seem really daunting and expensive. Everyone's like, oh, you've got to go to Sephora, you've got to buy this brand, you've got to buy that brand. The good news is we can actually get good results with inexpensive tools and materials that you can find at discount retailers like Target and Walmart, at pharmacies like CVS, Walgreens, and Rite Aid, and even at Dollar Tree. I will say in advance, this video is not sponsored by Dollar Tree or Big Lots or any of the other retailers mentioned. I just happen to use a lot of their stuff because they're located close to where I train and they're inexpensive. So let's take a quick look at tools and materials, and then we'll dive in and do just a quick walkthrough of how to put on your face so under those hot, bright stage lights, the audience can see what emotions you're trying to convey. Alright, so tools. I like brushes, they make sense to me. However, a lot of people like sponges or the little applicator things that you can find that come with makeup, or cotton balls, cotton rounds, those weird wedge sponges. Anything that works for you is fine. I'll be using these 3 brushes and this applicator, which are from a craft brush set that was 40 items for $5 at a local art store. These are not the ones I use for painting. These 2 brushes, both from Dollar Tree, so $2 total right there, and probably also this big brush that came with one of my makeup palettes from Dollar Tree. Materials-wise, I am a very, very, very sweaty person, so I use primer because I feel like it helps my makeup stay on longer. You do not have to use primer, that's optional. Foundation, which you're going to want about 1 to 2 shades darker than your current skin tone. If you're someone like me who tends to be darker in the summer than you are in the winter, you're going to want to have 2 different options, just a heads up. The reason that you want it darker than your natural skin tone is that the whole purpose of stage makeup is to give you a face under those really bright hot stage lights, and those bright hot stage lights can make anyone look washed out. In winter, I look like a straight up ghost. So you're going to find your foundation about 2 shades darker. This one's actually a little too pale for me right now. You're going to want eyeliner, $1, Dollar Tree. You're going to want eyeshadow. This whole palette was $2.50 at Big Lots. This company also has some other options that were $5, so this one may have been on sale. I happen to really like this one. It is what I use when I perform professionally, both with Leigh Purtill Ballet Company and with the company that I work for here in Kentucky. A contouring stick comes in handy. This one was $1 at Dollar Tree, but is optional. You're going to want some kind of lip balm and or lip color. I usually use them together. We'll touch on that later. And you're going to want some kind of setting spray, ideally, because you're going to be working hard in this makeup. You will probably be sweating at least a little bit. Setting spray comes in handy. The secret that will probably get me trolled off the internet, but we'll see, is that you can also use hairspray. Painters use it often as a fixative for watercolors and charcoals. You don't want to breathe either hairspray or setting spray in if you have asthma like I do, so just kind of hold your breath when you put it on, but it makes a difference. This is actual setting spray that was 50 cents on sale at our local Walmart neighborhood market. Alright, so now that we've reviewed our tools and materials, let's get to work. I'm going to start with primer. This one was $6.52. Again, you can find primer at Dollar Tree. You can spend less on it, you can spend more on it. I'm just super sweaty. This one happens to work for me. It's ELF brand. So you just take a little squirt of this. You can put it on a sponge. I just throw it on my fingers. And you're just going to put that over the entire area on which you will be putting makeup. And that might vary depending on how high the neck of your costume is. Alright, we're going to give that a second to set. And then we're going to put on foundation. Foundation, basically the same thing. This one doesn't have a pump top, so I'm using a makeup sponge to put it on. And that's just going to go all over your face and skin wherever you're putting makeup, once again. And you're just going to smooth it on. The whole point of foundation is to create an even blank canvas so you can paint in the details. So we've got the primer, we've got the foundation. As you can see, that kind of evens out the shadows and the tone of my skin. It really takes the details out. Now we're gonna put them back in. So I'm gonna start with eyeliner. Some people do eyeshadow first and then eyeliner. I do eyeliner first and then eyeshadow. I like to start about 2/3 of the way in from the outer corner of my eye and just draw straight across. Same thing on the other side. And that's just on the upper lid. As you can see, that already enhances the contrast of the whites of my eyes. On the lower lid, I usually just do a little tiny mark under where the iris of my eye is when I'm looking ahead. That's more for visual focusing and contrast than anything. Next, we're going to do some eyeshadow. So I like to start with the lightest shades. It means I don't have to clean off my brushes as often. I do have a brush cleaning sponge. You can wipe your brushes off on really anything that's dry. So a paper towel, your wrist, a sponge like this, again, Dollar Tree, $1. Even just a regular sponge, anything like that's dry and has a little bit of texture so you can get the pigment off, will be just fine. So I'm gonna start with the lightest color in this palette, which is actually lighter than my foundation, and a sort of medium-ish brush, it's soft. And what I'm going to do is apply this color to the inner third of my upper eyelid, and also a little bit on the triangle just above the bridge of my nose. What that does is sort of enhance the open-eyed look and makes your eyes look bigger. Because I have allergies and I often have dark shadows under my eyes, I also like to put a little bit on the inner corner of my lower eyelid. That way I don't just look like I'm playing Hamlet in every single production. Alright, so we've got that lightest color. Next thing I'm going to do is take this medium color. I use about 5 colors, 3 flat shades, and 2 glitter. You don't have to do that many, it's just what I like to do. Again, you're going to find what works for you. So I take this medium color, and this is going to go over the whole of the rest of my upper eyelid, about to the corner of my brow. I just follow the brow line. The last 2 steps are going to involve glitter colors. Again, optional. I like them. I feel like they make your eyes more visible to the audience, but not everyone does like them. I've also heard it said that you shouldn't use glitter in the crease of your eyelid. I've gotten it in there by mistake and haven't died, so you probably won't die if that happens, just so you know. But that's a thing that I've heard about. So I'm going to take the lightest color in the glitter options, and again, put that over the inner third of my upper lid and just a little bit of my lower lid, just at the corner. There we go. And then I'm going to take the next 2 darkest, I think. It's hard to say. But the darkest sort of reddish brown option here, and I'm going to put that on the outer 2/3 of my eyelid. And as you can see, this eye makeup brightens up the whites of my eyes by contrast, so it makes it easier for the audience to see the whites of my eyes, which in turn also makes it easier for them to understand what I'm trying to express. My eyebrows, although you can't tell under this light, under stage lights look like they end here. So I'm also going to use the second eyeshadow palette. This one was $1. It's LA Color brand. This one also came from Big Lots. You can find this brand at Dollar Tree as well. And I'm going to take this darkest brown out of this, second darkest I guess, out of this palette, and just paint my brows in, just following the natural line of the brow. I do this again because otherwise it looks like I just have these little, like a third of an eyebrow. Alright, that takes care of my eyes. So the next step is contouring. Contouring is really just putting shadows back, or enhancing the shadows that are there. So under the stage lights, again, even if you have darker skin, it does weird things to the shadows in your face. So what we're gonna do is put those shadows back where they belong. So I'm gonna start with this contouring pen, again, $1 at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to draw in the little hollow behind the nares, which are this, like the soft part of your nostrils, to make sure that that shadow is visible, so it looks like I have a nose. I like to do the philtrum of my upper lip as well, which is that little line between the two halves, and then the spot right below my lower lip, because for some reason on my face that gets lost and it produces a very strange effect. Alright, so as you can see, that makes that a lot more visible. I'm also going to do the cleft of my chin just a little bit for pure vanity's sake. So next I'm going to take this second eyeshadow palette and a largish brush, and what I'm going to do is fill in the shadow that should be here right under. This is called the zygomatic arch, or my cheekbone, and also my jawline. So I'm going to use my large brush for this, and I'm going to use a color that's a little bit lighter than what I used for my eyebrows. You can also buy contouring palettes. I have one that cost about $4 and is great, but because my whole goal here was to kind of minimize cost and number of materials that you have to acquire, I'm going to demonstrate this with eyeshadow, which works just fine. So I'm going to start by filling in my jawline. Alright, so that's just going to make sure once again that under the stage lights I have a jawline. Alright, so we're going to do my cheekbones next, same color, and what I like to do is just find the place where the hinge of my jaw is, kind of press the brush in there and just brush straight under the line of my cheekbone. I have pretty high cheekbones, so it's pretty easy to find, but I don't think it should be too difficult, even if you don't. So here we go, same thing here. The nice part about a brush is it makes it easy to blend. So you can kind of even that out back by your ears. Once that's done, I'm going to take a slightly lighter shade, though you can actually use the same shade, just let's apply less of it. I'm going to dust the side of my nose a little bit. Again, this is just for shape. And lastly, depending on the kind of character I'm playing, I seem to wind up, I suppose because there are a lot of kings in ballets for some reason, I seem to wind up playing kings a lot. I feel like for kings, like you want that, like you want to emphasize the apparatus of wisdom, I guess. So I like to do these little bones here on the sides of my skull. They sort of, emphasize that, like, hey, look, I'm brainy kind of look. Which I think can be either, effective when you're trying to play a brainy king, or ironically effective if you're playing, say, Oberon, the King of the Fairies. It's actually my favorite, my dream role is Oberon in A Midsummer Night's Dream. Alright, I got to understudy that role last year, and it was a lot of fun. The next thing we're going to do is do lip color. I always put a layer of lip balm on first. And then I follow with lip color. This one, it turns out, it looks dark, but it barely shows on my face. This is also, both of these products are from Dollar Tree. This one's marketed as a combination lip color, eyeshadow, and blush. And as you can see, it's barely visible. So what I'm going to do to make it a little more visible is I'm going to take this eyeshadow palette again. This is an old broke goth kid club trick. When we, were all in like high school and didn't have money for makeup, but we wanted to go out, we would put lip balm on and eyeshadow. So you can use a little bit of eyeshadow to add color as needed. Do a little bit on my lower lip as well. I recommend, if you do use a brush for this, don't use your favorite one, because the lip balm can kind of gum it up. And that makes my lips, as you can see, a little more visible. Alright, and as you can see, this doesn't take very long once you've started figuring out how to do it. You can experiment with different looks. The last thing you want to do is go ahead and put some kind of fixative on, or setting spray. Let's call it fixative, that's what you call it for painting. So I'm going to use this one that I got. This was 50 cents on sale. This actually works really well. I just, for the heck of it, I wanted to see how this worked, so I did my face and went to class on Thursday, and it actually worked really well. I was surprised. So the way I do this is I just take 8 to 10 sprays counterclockwise, because it's not a continuous spray, it's a pump spray. And then just let it dry, and you're good. And that's it. Like, that's all you have to do. The whole point is simply to put the shadows back that the lights take away, so when the audience is watching you, they can tell what you are trying to tell them. It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It's not hard to do. And once you get the hang of it, you can take this basic approach and take it to the extreme to get all kinds of different looks. Good luck, Merit, have fun.